right here with Coach Kayl from Gretna High School. Coach, first of all, just talk about the year you guys had, the season, and what you like about your program and where it's at going forward.
This year we ended up 6-2, made the playoffs, and got beat by a Kearney team that got hot there at the end of the year. We in the first 2 years in Class A, we were kind of getting used to the style of play and just the competition. So this year was a good step forward for us, and a good group of kids. These seniors were sophomores when we first made that leap into A, and they've seen the adjustment that we need to make, and did a great job, kind of knowing what we need to do in the off season, and picking up some of the younger guys, and then we had some younger guys that really stepped up and did some nice stuff for us.
Yeah, and when you make that transition into Class A, you have a quarterback like Zane to kind of build on, and I'm sure big picture you were thinking, I'm going to plug this kid in as a freshman because he's going to be really good for us down the road. When you first saw Zane as a quarterback, what did you like about him, and how has he grown in these 2 seasons?
His work ethic stood out right away. As coming in from junior high up at high school, and typically the kids go to freshmen, but we knew Zane had a lot of potential. But you don't assume anything until you actually see the kid, and a great work ethic, and then you start to see him throw, and his footwork and his accuracy. We knew he was probably going to be somebody that could help us out, and so early in that season, we had him kind of sharing some reps, and at a certain point, Zane ended up taking over, and he's learning as he goes. Freshman year, he did a nice job for us, and then through last year to this year, really improved his game, took care of the ball. I think this year ended up only up with 3 picks, and so just the understanding, kind of reading the defense, and then getting the ball to where it needs to be, and so that's where we saw potential from him early on, and knew we were probably going to be using Zane quite a bit in our offense because we like to throw the ball.
Do you know, in the history of Gretna's program, in recent history, has there ever been a freshman that has started on the varsity?
Not that I know of. There's been not very many times that there's been freshmen that have been pulled up. So for us to do that with Zane, especially at the beginning of the season. At the end of the season, we've had some freshman kids that threw freshman ball, kind of earned the right to maybe stand on the sideline in the playoffs. But as far as at the beginning of the season and maybe getting some reps right away, not that I know.
Like Janovich probably wasn't even at that level yet, was he?
From what I talked to, Janovich actually graduated right before I got to Gretna, and from what I talked about, he did not play as a freshman. Some people would argue that he could have, but that it was just at that particular time, he didn't end up playing.
As far as like just the mechanics, the footwork, how far ahead is Zane from just other quarterbacks you've observed over your years, and how has that really helped him excel at a young age?
I've coached for 20 years, and he'd seen some very good quarterbacks, and he'd rank right up there at some guys that have been through the program already, as a senior, and he's just as a sophomore, and it's impressive how much time a kid like Zane puts in. He's a multi-sport athlete, but I think he's always throwing the football, whether he's doing some other sports, and he's getting together with his classmates, and he's got a group of kids that they're real tight. They've really enjoyed the game of football from the time they were little kids up until now, and they're competitors, and they just want to succeed, and they. So Zane and his classmates really spend a lot of time on the practice field, or when they can get on the football field, and they're running routes and doing the things to improve Zane and improve the guys he's throwing the ball to too.
Yeah, how do you challenge him now for these next 2 years to kind of have your program take that next step and get in that kind of quarterfinal, semifinal conversation in Class A?
To not be complacent. So he started as a freshman. He's not started as a sophomore, and we could hit cruise mode and just say we're starting to get some attention, and then we just plateau. And I don't foresee that happening. I don't think Zane has that attitude, and we got some kids that are hungry. We got beat by Kearney by 2, and that ended up being a dogfight at the end of the game, and we want to build off that and know that Kearney ended up in the semifinals, and so we want to make a run as Gretna's got a long history of some good football, and we're ready to get that rolling and be consistent in the playoffs and make deeper runs in the playoff.
And as far as colleges, what teams have reached out to you, whether it's just like an email or a phone call? I mean, have you had some early interest on Zane at this point?
Iowa State had contacted me, and as far as Power 5 guys programs, that's about it. That's been in touch with me. I know Zane's had some contact with some coaches, but I know that there are some other guys that showing some interest, and I've been in contact with Iowa State a little bit.
And they're just kind of early meet and greet, trying to get them on the radar and
right.
hopefully get them on. I mean, it sounds like everyone's in the same boat. They just want to see these kids in person, and we just don't know when that's going to be.
Yep. And last year was a strange deal with obviously the quarantine and everything kind of shut down, and some of these kids were still able to get out and do some throwing, and Zane was doing some 7-on-7, and I think some footage got sent out of him doing some 7-on-7, and that's where I know that's the Iowa State coach had contacted me shortly thereafter. He said I saw him, and they liked what they saw.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you guys coming down here and see us in Lincoln, and best of luck to you and your team here as you guys prepare for 2021.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.